Hello, folks. How y'all doing today? Now, today is going to be triggering. A lot of you are going to be triggered today. I feel the need to just trigger people today. I like it myself. I find myself blissfully free of this rule of law concept. Laws are enforced by men. This idea that somehow having a rule of law magically makes your society better. There's good law and there's bad law. And then there are good enforcers of the law and bad enforcers of the law. Having a rule or a law code isn't, and that's really what this means. Rule by some law code isn't necessarily better or worse than rule by custom, rule by tradition, or rule just by the mere whim of people. Right. Okay. The belief that it is one of the great dogmatic falsities of the modern world. Because in the end, what we have here in America, particularly, and not so again with the rest, but from what I can determine from Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, and the UK, the other English-speaking dominions of the world, yeah, yeah, they have the same basic thing. There's a bunch of lawyers, and they get together and in this made-up language that nobody but them can understand, and then they just sort of pretend that the law has prevailed. When what's really happened is they've just made agreements among themselves and written out reasons why those agreements are what the law intended. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. And to pretend that it's the rule of anything but professional lawyers is utter insanity. It's childlike. All judges are lawyers. That's an American thing. I don't know if that's in the other English areas or not. Anyone who knows that, you could let me know. I'd appreciate it, actually, if you did. But the idea, that somehow lawyers aren't ruling is ridiculous. They're writing the law, they're enforcing the law, they're arguing the law, they're shaping the law through their case law. Come on. And from what I can determine, again, this same basic thing seems to be the way it is in the other countries. I don't know the extent to which the lawyers have control of Parliament and the Australian and Canadian assemblies, but again, anyone who was willing to let me in on that'd be great. And behind these lawyers, because the lawyers are lackeys of the money power, the big money interests that, play with the two-party, three-party system, depending where you're at. It kind of varies a little, but it's always the same. You have one dominant party that gets all the funding and the media sort of is their buddy. And then you have one non-dominant party that's like the chosen loser and every once in a while wins and the media has a big cry fest about it. And then next time everybody comes through with the big win on the other side. I mean, this gets old. It's so ridiculously, childishly, transparently stupid, right? It's money people paying a bunch of lawyers to play games with the law so that the money people can make the most in the end. And the lawyers get paid really good for their Judas goat-like treason. Now, come on. The rest of us get shafted. Now, does that sound like some kind of law that you want to keep? Or the rule of anything that's just or good or honorable or even, dare I say it, fair? I mean, I mean, the lefties that are listening in this to spy on me, hey? Does what I just described to you sound like something you personally would like, hey? Because I know there's some of you that come on down here in the secrets of the night and like, ooh. Okay, don't lie, But even to you conservatives, when you think of it the way I just said, does this sound good? Does it sound like, hey, what I want to keep is a bunch of corrupt lawyers that make corrupt rules in collusion with corrupt judges and corrupt bureaucrats to screw me at every turn, every way possible as they micromanage my life in a completely dominating and inept way. Yeah, they dominate your life at every turn, and they're inept at it. That's the real bad thing, isn't it? Come on now. If these lawyers could actually make good decisions that were productive, maybe even like made you money, you might not be as upset about it. But let's be truthful. Most of their decisions, because they're clueless, college-educated, ivory tower living, soft-handed pussies, frankly, are wrong decisions that lose you money and screw up your life and have created this politically correct chaos around us. Okay? Now, this is because the money powers don't have any long-term, what you might call morals or principles. They are in all this for 3-month cycles, and their only real long-term goal is to try to wipe out the majority people here and, That's the goal. But not because they hate us, just because it's more profitable than sustaining us. Slaves cost less. Slaves cost less. Okay? Now, the rule of law is one of the fictions that allow these lawyers and this money power to make you into slaves as a prelude to running you through, well, they want you gone. Okay? Gone. Gone. You know? Okay? So, unless you like the idea of being gone, of giving up your children's future, of giving up everything you've ever cared about, well, you're going to need to give up these lies that are in your mind. You know, there's a lot of them, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a good number of them, you know, that you believe. Many of them are just simply point of view things that have been indoctrinated into you as truths because they profit these lawyers and the money power. It's just how it is. It's just as simple. It's just that easy. You know, it's funny because people talk, but the law keeps me from this. Really? American rule of law only matters until you're a threat to the system. Then there are no rules other than that the law will rule over you, because that's what's meant to do. And these spineless lawyers, perfectly trained to argue anything on both sides with equal sincerity, meaning they're lying, soulless bastards whose only allegiance seems to be to money. I've never seen a lawyer that cared about anything more than money, except for maybe his own life. And so to pretend that these people being in control of your law brings about some ideal state of liberty, it's just, I mean, are you 5? Are you 3? Are you still in first grade learning a bunch of nonsense about cherry trees? Come on now. Be a man. Think this through. You know, this law system, this bureaucratic system, and for the feds, for your state, pretty much anywhere you can understand me, is a bad system. That doesn't mean that all law is bad, but it means that this law is bad. And it's bad because it's inbred. It's inbred. It has lawyers that write the law, lawyers that judge on the law, lawyers that argue the case law for the law. Did you get it? Now, do you not think that these same lawyers are going to try to defend their interests? And this whole system of lawyers is paid for. Okay, the lawyers that write the law are just bribed openly by big money. Bribed. You can call it donations, you can call it campaign finance. It's bribery. Okay? It's bribery. Boom. The ones that judge on the law, they get bribed too. Huh. The ones that argue before the law, they're there for money. Okay, okay? Now, so to pretend that this utterly Judas-like, corrupt system of making, enforcing law. Oh, and then hold on a second. I've forgotten about the lawyers who administer the law behind the scenes at the bureaucratic and administrative courts level. They're lawyers too, mostly. Yeah. Does anybody happy with the outcome of their corrupt maneuverings? Right, because they again use the law written by the other lawyers to funnel money to their bureaucratic organizations, you know, whichever particular department they belong to. So you have bilk, steal, hide, protect for other lawyers, while regular people get shafted by the law so that they can pay like a cash cow. When was the last time you saw a huge CEO of a company who ripped off billions like this banker's debacle? They ripped off trillions. Who went to prison over that? If you stole $10,000 from a bank by defrauding a bank, would you go to prison? Yes or no? Now, why don't they go to prison and why do you? It's because they're protected by the lawyer class. They're above the lawyer class, and so the lawyer lackeys work for them and the law works for them. You're below the lawyer lackeys, and so the lawyer lackeys give you the lash, whoosh, 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 and the law works as leverage against you. That's why.